Hello, everyone. Welcome to No Drama, Just Movies. We are back with another episode. Essentially, what we do each and every week is that we take a movie that is currently either just been released in cinemas or a cult classic or any of the biggest discussions in movies and TV, and we talk about it. We review it and we let you know our thoughts, and obviously like to get you guys involved as well. So, my name is Cameron K. Smith. I am joined by my amazing co-host here, Young Padawan.
I'm Phil.
I love that intro now. It's just I'm Phil.
It'll be iconic one day.
I mean, it works.
It'll be a catchphrase or something.
It will. We need t-shirts of that now. We need t-shirts of it. But so guys, what we're here to review today is none other than Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2. So we did our Spider-Man 1 review, which you'll be able to find in a link just right below this video, which was re-released in the UK across cinemas last week. We're having this complete stretch right now. I think it's the same as well over in the US, where I think it's for the next like 8 or so weeks, they're re-releasing each and every one of the Spider-Man movies, the live-action Spider-Man movies, from Sam Raimi's to the Amazing Spider-Man movies and then to the Homecoming trilogy. So we saw Spider-Man 1 last week. This week we saw Spider-Man 2, and we are here to give you our thoughts and reviews. So, Young Padawan, I got to throw it to you. First and foremost, actually, when was the last time you saw Spider-Man 2?
It might have been similar to Spider-Man 1, just when it came out. I might have watched it a little bit afterwards as well, but like it's been at least 10 years.
Yeah. Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Damn. So what was your thoughts? What was your opinion?
I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. Maybe a lot of, more than the first one, even. It's just the characters were established, so we already had like the drama of the end of the first one carrying over into this one. Between all the characters like Peter and Harry, obviously, then Mary Jane and Peter. There were like awesome like action scenes, some really iconic moments. Obviously the acting as well, like just the cast, the addition of Alfred Molina as Ark is just beautiful addition.
The GOAT.
And so yeah, I enjoyed it. What about you?
Yeah. I mean, bro. Like, after when we reviewed and we did a video here actually for Spider-Man 1 last week, like, and even the conversations we've had in and around that review, like, we've discussed about how underappreciated that movie is, and I think how underrated that movie is, Spider-Man 1. Because as you like, I think it was you that said it at the time, but it was coming like a drama, like literally just like a drama. And I was so amazed to watch it again and be like, shit, like, this actually like is not what I remember. Like, you know what I mean? And so seeing the second one now, going into the second one, my expectations were super high because I consider Spider-Man 2 as one of the greatest comic movies ever made. And for a long time, for me, Spider-Man 2 was the greatest live-action Spider-Man movie ever made. And after seeing it again in cinema, for me, I still think that it definitely holds that moniker, or at least it's still close to holding that moniker. I still think it's one of the greatest comic movies.
Tom Holland ones.
See, I still think it's one of the greatest comic book movies ever made. In terms of if it's the greatest live action Spider-Man movie ever made, I think I'll wait now to rewatch the Tom Holland ones to come to that decision. But you mentioned the action sequences, like that whole train sequence, which is just such an iconic Spider-Man set piece, and in terms of live action movies. Like, that was just phenomenal to watch, man. Don't get me wrong, at some point, some of the CGI was definitely not holding up as great, but you know, yeah, what can you expect?
I don't mind shitty, or not shitty, but not up
say what you mean now, boy.
Yeah, I didn't notice it, to be honest. Well, there was some, like, when Peter and Doc Ock are fighting, and you can tell that, yeah, they're rendered. But I don't mind CG like that if the story works, because I think that's why I'm going to watch this film. I'm going to watch it for the story, not to look at amazing image. No, part of it, but you know. But yeah, sorry, I interrupted you.
No. I agree. Like, yeah, it's a very, very small pet peeve. Like, I think jumping off of what you were saying, like, this is about the story, and that's the beautiful thing. Like, when we were talking about Spider-Man 1 being this amazing drama, that bleeds on over to Spider-Man 2. Because what's so amazing about Spider-Man 2, especially coming off of 1, is that the story is so rich. You continue these amazing character arcs and these character developments. And then, in the first movie, I was thinking about, one of the biggest themes in the first movie, in a way, was revenge. Obviously, when Ben Parker dies, and you have kind of like that theme in terms of as well when Norman Osborn realizes that Oscorp is going to shit, and he's kind of taking, revenge. But then in this movie, it felt like to me one of the biggest themes was sacrifice, and exploring that story with Peter, the idea that he's losing his powers because he pretty much has one foot in, one foot out, and the idea that you mentioned last week, for example, and I keep referencing it when Norman says to Peter, or Goblin says to Spidey in Spider-Man 1, that you always choose misery. And you see that in this movie where there's a reluctance to go the route of Spider-Man because of what it means that you're going to lose. You're not going to be able to, the idea of getting MJ and living out this life of love with her seems impossible. The idea of you being able to keep up your studies and, Doc Connors saying, you're smart but lazy, or being able to work with Otto Octavius, all these opportunities start to fall by the wayside, or at least he starts to drown in them because he can't keep up living the two lives that he's living. But then in this movie, you have that amazing scene between him, Henry, and Aunt May, where Aunt May is giving that speech, about heroes and the fact that, we all need them, and, you need somebody. Sometimes you got to give up your dreams in order for you to hold steady and do what's needed. And once again, it's just so poetic, man, because you put it nicely, like last week. It's just this idea that Peter has to always choose a different path, that path of misery, should we say, because of the fact that this is what's required of him. The classic line, with great power comes great responsibility. And I felt that it's just really poetic how they did it in this movie. And then obviously we'll come back to it as well, but how then that goes from him confidently saying to MJ, look, like, this cannot happen because I'm Spider-Man and I've chosen this path and I'm certain in that now, to then MJ flipping it back on him by the end of the movie saying, like, listen, like, you can't choose what I decide to do. Like, I'm deciding that I want to do this and I'm willing to support you in this, even though I know the burden it's going to be. And obviously, as the audience member, you're looking, going, Peter, like, in his head, this is going to backfire. This is not going to be easy. But part of you is like, no, he kind of deserves this. You know what I mean? He deserves to have MJ. Yeah.
He needs a break. It's I thought about this as well, this responsibility thing, and just the two meanings of responsibility. Like, he has this power, so he's responsible for helping people because he can. But he also, when something does go wrong, like in that the scene where the building burns down, and he misses that one person who basically burns up in the building. He feels responsible for that death because he wasn't there to save that person. So it's those two levels of responsibility that I think make the tragedy of Spider-Man, right? He needs to help because if he can't, he feels like he actually killed that person by not interfering. And I thought that's really, that is the drama. I think that brings in the drama of the whole And
you, sorry, go ahead.
And since you mentioned the Mary Jane thing, I love that as well for her character. And I don't know, nowadays it's probably just a given, I guess, to give the girl a little bit more agency. But for the message it sends of, like, it came out in 2004, right? Like 20.
I think so. I think it was 4. Yeah.
It's incredibly, like, progressive message, actually. Look, this isn't just Peter's choice, right? He this is Mary Jane's choice as well. Like, if she knows the truth, she can then decide whether she wants to get involved or not.
And I think as well, like, on this kind of path of, or on this discussion, should I say, in terms of, character arcs and character developments, obviously going back to not Norman, sorry, but Norman's son, Harry, how once again, you have that idea that he cannot get this idea out of his head that Peter, what was that, Spider-Man, excuse me, is responsible for his father's death, and he is still on that path of vengeance. And like, you have an amazing arc with him, especially where, even when you start this movie and, it's Peter's birthday and they throw the surprise birthday for him and he's there and, he makes that sly comment, MJ, she's yours, pal, whatever we're saying. But you can just see once again these things building up and getting to him, the idea that in his eyes, Spider-Man killed his father. In his eyes, Peter has stolen or is stealing his girl. In his eyes, his father cared about Peter a bit more than Harry. And in his eyes, Peter is now protecting Spider-Man by not giving up location or identity to who that person is, because Peter, in his eyes, he feels like Peter's just using him to make money and he doesn't want to give him up. And, you see that anger and that progression really build up until that point where he does say to Otto, like, listen, if you want this tritium, I think it's called tritium or something like that. But tritium, it's like, go bring me Spidey. And that amazing scene where he takes off the mask and, he realizes it's Peter and he's speechless. And Peter's just like, listen, man, F this, we need to go and sort this out. This is more important. But once again, just building these amazing character arcs. And it feels like right now that we have like 2 points that are slowly meeting to a collision, but you're having all the amazing setup and backstory and drama to bring you there. Obviously, we will come to our Spider-Man 3 review because unfortunately it didn't quite work out the way that... but at least in this movie, for example, from Spider-Man 1, like, just phenomenal build. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. I love the scene between Harry and Peter with the when John at the party later, when
gala or something.
That as well, when Harry gets drunk and he like slaps Peter as well. Like, there's definitely resentment there, right? From like all different angles. Like he like you said, he resents Peter for sticking up for Spider-Man and kind of being too close to Spider-Man. He resents him for having his father's love. He probably resents him for having MJ's love as well. And Peter kind of has to live with it. And what I thought as well, like, it's not just Harry. It's at the beginning when we see him, his aunt hates Spider-Man, hates him as Spider-Man. Harry hates him, Peter, and Spider-Man, kind of. Mary Jane, he's lost her as well because of Spider-Man. And it's all this, like, the people who are closest to him either hate him or don't want anything to do with him. Just because of the Spider-Man thing. So it's all these things that he gives up to help people that he doesn't even know. More of the tragedy, really. And I love that whole drama. And while we're on the point of Harry, like, I think, and correct me if you think differently, but I thought James Franco definitely showed up a little bit more for this film.
You did mention this,
than for the first one.
I think I was saying as well, like, I feel like in a way that he had maybe not necessarily more to do, but I think that this was definitely for him, maybe, I'm just guessing, like a more interesting meteor role to take on, in the sense of like a character who is actually really going through something. And maybe that might have been more fun for him to play. I don't know. I am completely guessing.
It's definitely a stronger, I think, characterization of him. Like every actor, I mean, you probably as well, loves playing like a villain.
You love playing something, some meat.
It's gonna be more fun anyway.
But I mean, speaking of villain, obviously we have not touched yet on Alfred Molina's performance of Otto Octavius. What did you think? Especially because at the time as well, when this movie released, like, I know that Doc Ock, being introduced as a villain was quite a big deal, because we had never seen him before in live action, and it was such a big Spider-Man villain. Obviously, we saw how he tied into No Way Home, so actually seeing the origin again and how he was introduced in this movie was really cool. But what did you think?
I loved Alfred Molina in this. Like, he brought the charm, like when they're having the little tea scene when they're together with Rosie,
with his missus.
Just like when he talks about how he met his wife and like how they got together and the poetry and all that. You could see the warmth, and like I love the part where they're like sciencing together, where they like he sees the reactor the first time, Peter sees the reactor the first time, but then he's the switch and Molina can pull off like just the menace of Doctor as well. It's just it's a great portrayal.
I agree, man. I agree. Like he was, especially as well. I feel like he married really well with Sam Raimi's style because he was terrifying. Like he had those moments where that terrifying portrayal in some of those moments mixed with Sam Raimi's horror-esque directing style in some ways, like really married together well. Like for example, we mentioned when he first wakes up after the incident where his wife dies and he's in the hospital and his tentacles kill all of the surgeons. But yeah, I love the idea. It was actually quite smart, especially now in 2024 where it's a world where AI has become this such a big thing. And in 2004 it was kind of like Terminator, kind of just a pipe dream.
It's like
yeah,
no
seeing
idea what was coming.
Exactly, like seeing how like they rooted that into or linked that into the origin of Doc Ock, this thing being that, they are AI tentacles, and after the incident, they pretty much completely fuse with his brain or some sciencey stuff, but basically takes over. I thought that was really nice. And yeah, this idea that he still clings on to his initial mission, which is to, it's a bit sciencey, but the idea, of this kind of fusion reactor and, renewable energy and whatnot. And, the idea that he still wants to build that. And that line, the sun in the palm of my hand, like such a like, it's such a powerful line, man. Like it's just so awesome. And yeah, I love, as you said, like his portrayal, like he was a scary villain. He was intimidating. I loved his relationship with Peter. Like that line that he flings back on Peter at the end when they're having their fight scene where he, kind of comes around and he's a bit more in control of the tentacles. And he says, he realizes Peter's there as Spidey. And he says to Peter, smart but lazy, because it finally hits him what Dr. Connors was mentioning, that, okay, you're smart, but now I see the reason why they call you lazy, because you're living this other life. Just really beautiful moments, man. Just beautiful moments. And yeah, I thought he was dope, man. I thought that he was amazing. And the fact that we had Spider-Man 1 where you had such a great villain in Norman Osborn's portrayal, William Dafoe's portrayal of Norman Osborn and Green Goblin. Then you go into the second movie where you have now this amazing portrayal of Alfred Molina as Doc Ock. It does make you remember with No Way Home, like by those villains coming back and being such pivotal parts, it does make you remember how great the villains were for these Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. And I thought that his performance was amazing.
The third one, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see if Sandman and good old Eddie Brock can keep up. But yeah, ultimately, I mean, before we end and I get your thoughts on like an overall rating, anything you didn't like or didn't really gel with you?
Not really. Like I think it came together quite well, and it was like a great balance of drama and the action of obviously in the acting, and it was just a great package. Some of the shots as well, like when Rosie dies and you see the glass flying towards her,
good stuff,
things like that, and obviously like the rise of Ock, just the horror there, and like with the tentacles, like how they are like presented at first, like under the tops and like little raised. It's just beautiful imagery. So yeah, I think I would give it a 9, maybe a 9 out of 9.5. I don't know what I would take the 0.5 off, or why I would take the 1 off, but it feels just out of principle not giving it a 10. I'm
right with you, man. 9 out of 10, easy for me. Easy 9 out of 10. As I said at the beginning of this discussion, one of the greatest comic book movies ever made, one of, if not the greatest live action Spider-Man movie ever made. I think that it's just beautiful, man. It's just beautiful. The only like thing, like as I said, like I think I mentioned the pet peeve, when in terms of the CGI, but you can't do much about that because movies age and that's natural.
Yeah.
Only other thing I would say is like, and once again, this is another pet peeve thing where one of the things I love, like you see it a lot, for example, in the most recent video games or even in No Way Home, at times. I don't know if you realize that some of the transition scenes or the scenes when Spidey is swinging throughout the city or doing like his little acrobatics or the way he gets from one place to the next or the way that he avoids certain things because he's pretty much a Olympic gymnast. I would have loved that for some of those scenes maybe to be a little bit more creative or a little bit more thrilling in terms of like, for example, how he's swinging from one place to the other or when he's evading. And then again, actually, there was some really cool moments like when he's fighting Doc Ock, like ways how he's quickly evading attacks or quickly, doing little reversals and counters. So I take that back. There actually was a good one there. Yeah. But I would have liked to have seen more, but that's a very, very pet peeve. Like, yeah, ultimately 9 out of 10, easy. But now we go on to Spider-Man 3, which will be next. So this will be
9
fun.
as well.
Well, I mean, that one might be a 10. I think that one might be a 10.
Spoilers, it might be a 10.
Oh yeah. But yeah, anything else or is that us?
I think we can wrap it up, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's us. All right, no worries. And guys, thank you very much, guys. We are No Drama, Just Movies. We thank you guys for checking out our review of Spider-Man 2. Next will be Spider-Man 3, and we'll also be reviewing some other movies that are coming out. Also, if you like this video, please give us a little like, comment, subscribe to this channel. Please share this video as well. Jump down in the conversation so we can have a little chat about this movie. And any feedback would be helpful. Obviously, we're very much so a new channel, but we really love doing this. We're just two friends that love talking about movies, and we enjoy talking about movies with other people as well. So thank you very much for checking us out. My name is Cameron Kelly Smith.
My name is Phil.
There we go.
Put it on your t-shirt.
Put it on the t-shirt. Thank you very much, guys. We are No Drama, Just Movies, and we will see you very soon. Take care, guys.
Bye.